not sure. Well, surfing and broaching. Well, of course, there are two things that can cause that, wind or waves. And of course, there's nothing else that can cause it anyway. So let me just show you, you've probably all, I don't know how many of you have been in that position, but that, of course, is a broach caused by wind, as there are not many big waves around here. And, of course, it can be dangerous, can break your spinnaker boom, and it can wash a crewman overboard, and all kinds of horrible things might happen, as well as the fact that if you're racing and that happens, you really lose a heck of a lot of time. Okay, so let me explain how wave motion can... water waves, when you see a wave moving along, of course it's not the body of water moving along at all. The water in a water wave, particles of water in the wave simply go round and round in circles on the spot. These dots outline a wave which is moving from left to right, even though each dot is simply going round and round in a circle. So the particles of water in a wave don't go anywhere except round and round in a circle on the spot, the diameter of the circle being equal to the height of the waves. I can move this thing along, and you see the wave, there's the wave going from left to right. But if you look at a particular spot, you see it's just going round and round in a circle. But the point is that in the crest, it's moving from, the wave motion is going to the right, and the motion in the crest is to the right, whereas in the trough, the motion is to the left in the trough, with the wave moving to the right. So, of course, yeah. Of course, another strange thing is if you're in really large waves, because of that circular motion, and if you're in a small boat, say you're in a life raft in a really huge sea, when you're on the front of a wave, gravity acts perpendicular to the surface of the wave, because it's associated with the centrifugal force of the rotating particles, and so your idea of what is down is different from somebody else's who's in smooth water. So if you're on this wave and you think down is there, and you look at the next wave there, you think it's enormously high, much higher than if you were level and looking at the wave. So people under those conditions tend to overestimate the size of waves for that reason. So using that fact, we can then look down on two boats where the lines are close together. Of course, there's the crest of the wave, and the particles of water in that wave are moving this way, and in the trough here, particles of water are moving that way. So if this boat is intending to sail in this direction perpendicularly to the waves, which is a safe way to go, then if by chance it veers slightly off course, as shown here, then the movement of water here produces drag on the bow in that direction, and the movement of water here produces drag on the stern in that direction, and that of course produces a torque tending to turn the boat back to the direction you want to go in. So it's a stable equilibrium due to what scientists would call negative feedback. Whereas here you have positive feedback, because now the reverse is the case. The movement of water here, if the boat is slightly off course, it's going to push it further off course, and that could eventually result in a broach. So that's broaching with waves, but the picture that I showed earlier was broaching due to wind effects, and this often happens in a beam reach. Here's the wind, and you've got a spinnaker up, and if you manage to keep the boat fairly upright under those conditions, then the driving force of the sails will be both due to mainsail and spinnaker will be a force somewhere here like that, and the drag force of the boat is centralized on the center line of the boat. So these are the two forces acting on the boat, and they are not in line. There's an arm between them, so there's a tendency to produce a torque in that direction, making the boat want to round up. If this arm is not very great, that torque will not be very great, and you can probably hold it with the rudder here. If for some reason the boat suddenly starts to heel greatly, then of course the force from the spinnaker goes outboard, and the arm between the driving force and the drag force becomes quite large, and these forces indeed are very large because the boat is going at great speed usually under these conditions, and so the torque now tending to turn the boat up to windward is very, very strong indeed, and coupled with the fact that now the boat is heeling, so the rudder doesn't have too much grip of the water, then the thing can round up completely and you will get a broach as shown in the picture. So I guess that's about all I've got to say, except to say that there is a great amount of physics involved in sailing, and understanding it may improve your ability as a sailor, but it certainly will add to your enjoyment and appreciation of the sport. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ross. That was wonderful.
All right.